Hello, my name is Bróna. I am the founder of Calm Nights Child Sleep Consulting. I also work as a public health nurse and I work with children on a daily basis in regards to their development and also any sleep issues that may arise. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Meath County Council Libraries for inviting me here today to be part of the Healthy Ireland initiative. So the aim of today is help parents understand their children's sleep, why they need their sleep, and how to help them get their much needed sleep. So with Calm Nights, we work with children of all ages, and from 6 months of age onwards, we develop sleep plans for these children based on their needs, and then with ongoing support and advice, we help parents implement this sleep plan. And as well, from today, I'd like to get the point across to parents that sleep issues in children is very common. In fact, it happens in about 25% of children. So at some stage in their life, 25% of children will have a sleep issue at some stage. If not treated, sometimes their sleep issues can persist later on into life and even into adulthood. So again, that's why we want to get the support and advice out there early to try and help improve your little one's sleep. Again, if there is a child in a house who does have sleep issues, it can be quite challenging, not only on the child, but on siblings and parents as well. As parents can be exhausted. You could be up numerous times during the night. You're trying to function the next day on lack of sleep and you're expected to get the children up, out to school, go to work, and you're exhausted. So we'd want to try and help improve your children's sleep. So children's sleep is a huge topic. So for today, I'm going to focus on common sleep issues in children. So from toddlers up until children of all school age years. So what is sleep and why is it so important? So we all know how exhausted we feel if we've had a lack of sleep or up numerous times at night. So when our children sleep, their brain is processing what they have seen and learned that day. So sleep is a normal part of children's development. Part of their normal sleeping process is for them to wake maybe 4 or 5 times a night. That's normal. But what we want is for children, when they awaken during the night, is to be able to fall back to sleep themselves without needing mommy or daddy in the room numerous times a night for them to fall asleep. So learning to sleep is a normal part of development. So when a child is born, they have numerous things to learn throughout their life, and sleep is one of them. So again, we want to get in there early, get them to learn how to fall asleep, and this will help with their growth and development. So for the first year in a child's life, their brain size doubles in size. And by the time our children are 3 years of age, their brain is about 80% size of an adult volume. So for our brain to develop, our little ones need sleep. So when our children need sleep, because it helps with their physical and mental health. It helps with their growth and development. So lack of sleep can actually interfere with our children's sleep or our children's growth and development. So sleep helps with our mental well-being, our physical well-being, our social skills and our language skills. You may notice yourself as a parent. So if your child has had a poor night's sleep up numerous times during the night, it might be quite a difficult day for your child and for you. So you may notice that they are hyperactive. You could be thinking, gosh, how are they so hyper when they've had such lack of sleep? And this could be a sign of overtiredness, which is causing them to be hyperactive. They could be quite irritable, reduced attention span, behavioural problems, or even a poor diet that day. No different than ourselves. If we've had lack of sleep, we might feel a bit, I don't want it. Like our appetite might be affected and you find you just want to nibble on certain foods. Our children are the same. And that's where the link is with lack of sleep and a higher risk of obesity for children. And again, with that reduced attention span. So we want our children to have a good night's sleep, to be able to go to school and focus the next day. We want them to be able to sit in their chair, take in the information at school. So it's really beneficial that they get enough sleep. So what happens when our children sleep? So when our children sleep, they tend to follow a certain sleep cycle, and this includes your deep sleep and your light sleep. So from children under 4 to 6 months, they're predominantly in a light sleep. And then over 6 months, they follow a trend of deep sleep, light sleep. So the early part of the night is when our children are in a deep sleep, and then they go into a light sleep, which is for most of the night, and with a light sleep and dreaming, and then early morning they're back into a deep sleep. So when our children fall asleep, we want them in a deep sleep in about 10 minutes time. If it's taken about 20 minutes for them to fall into a deep sleep, we're thinking, oh, is there a sleep issue here? Was their nap too late? Things like that. So again, you may notice yourself, you're out in the car, you're nearly home, your little one falls asleep, 10 minutes later you pull up the back door. You try and wake them, bring them into the house, and it's virtually impossible. So that's a sign that they're in their deep sleep. It's very hard to rouse them out of it. So for example, if you put your child to bed at 7:30, 8 p.m. and then the first cycle will end at 9:30, and then their second sleep cycle will end at 10:30, 11 p.m. And this is quite often when parents are going to bed, 10:30, 11 p.m. and they may think that the noise that they have made has caused their child to wake, but it's not. Quite often it can be that they're coming out of their deep sleep into their light sleep cycle and where they're quite rousable. Again, this is normal. Normal part of sleep is when your child wakens 4 to 5 times a night. So how do we go about improving our little one's sleep? So there's numerous things. We'll start off with sleep hygiene. So sleep hygiene, you can start from any age. It's never too late to start good sleep hygiene. And our good sleep hygiene consists of daytime activities, bedtime routine, and our bedtime environment. So our daytime activities, this is when we want to get our children outside and get them active, get them physical. So when our children go outside, they're exposed to sunlight. And this sunlight produces a hormone called serotonin. And serotonin helps our children with calmness and alertness, and it also helps with the production of another hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that we love. It's also known, you may know it as the sleepy hormone. So when then our children go to bed, when they're in the darkness, it sends a message to the brain to release the melatonin, to send a message to the body that, okay, it's nighttime, it's time for sleep. So as well as releasing melatonin, physical activity also helps with the amount of time it takes for our children to fall asleep. So if they've had good physical activity that day, you'll tend to see that they'll fall asleep quicker and the length of sleep will be longer. And then we move on to our bedtime routine. So I quite like a bedtime routine, lots of positives about a bedtime routine. Again, it doesn't matter what age your child is, 10, 11, 12 years of age, it's never too late to start off a routine. And a routine gets your child to start recognizing certain patterns that they then associate with bedtime and sleep. So for example, you bath your child, you get them into their pajamas, they brush their teeth, have a story, and then it's bedtime. All right. The main aim with a bedtime routine, you want to keep it to within about 30 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. After that, you might see little bedtime battles starting to come into play. Also be consistent. So if you're going up that stairs with them at night at 7:30 with the aim to be in bed at 8 p.m, keep to it. Keep going up the stairs at 7:30. Also, your 2 teachers are better than 1. So if both parents are in the household, it's quite important that both parents are on board and doing the same thing. Again, try and avoid either coming back downstairs or letting your child go back into the living room, because they may see the TV on, they may see their toys, and that's when your bedtime battles can start again. Just 5 more minutes, let me play with this. So it's trying to avoid things like that. A bedtime routine is quite positive. It's a positive reinforcement for your children, and it's that one-to-one time they get with parents. So be it their lullabies, their story times, or even a chat. How was your day? What did you do? What was good and bad about your day? So it's beneficial all round. Then we move on to our bedtime environment. So this is our child's bedroom. The main aim we want for our child's bedroom is to have it nice and calm and relaxing and warm, and aim for either a dim light or darkness. Again, your darkness is promoting the sleepy hormone or melatonin and helps our children sleep. So it's all linked in with each other. So try and avoid those vibrant colours in our children's room, and try and keep toys to a minimum. We want our children to be thinking that our bedroom is a place where to go to bed and to go to sleep. And again, try and avoid it as a place of punishment if you can. So if they have a place of time out, try and have it on a step rather than in their bedroom. You want them to think of their bedroom as a place of sleep and relaxing. So then we move on to our inappropriate sleep associations. So a sleep association is when our children need a certain object or person or thing to help them fall asleep. Now this could be from a comforter to their favourite teddy, to their soother, to being rubbed on the back, or to mommy or daddy lying in the bed with them until they fall asleep. And your comforter or favourite toy or teddy bear, that's fine. Your inappropriate one is when they need, like if they need mommy or daddy to lie with them in bed or rub their back, things like that. So your inappropriate sleep associations, they kind of come on unknowingly. A lot of the time they can start off from birth. So we could be rocking our baby to sleep or rubbing them on the back, and then our little one becomes dependent on it, and we're then to need it every night, where they need it to go to sleep at any time. So what we want is, you may often notice, is we want to reduce that sleep association, to remove it. Because as I said earlier, our children wake up 4 to 5 times a night. And if we're lying with our children and then they fall asleep, when they wake up, they're going to get a startle. Whereas mommy or daddy, they were here beside me when I fell asleep. That's when they're going to cry out for you to come back into the room. As well as that, many parents that I meet did say, my child was a great sleeper up until a certain age, and then it just can take something small to change this pattern. For example, going on holidays, they could be sharing the same room as you, or if your child is unwell, parents may end up sleeping in the room with them. And it only takes about 4 nights for inappropriate sleep association to come into play. And then a lot of the time, after the issue that caused you to be lying in beside your child to get them to sleep, it has resolved, but yet you're still lying in beside them. That's because they've come dependent on it. So we want to work on how to reduce that dependency. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you are saying, yes, Bróna, this sounds great, but how do we actually do it, or where do I start? So again, bring it back to your good sleep hygiene. As I said, never too late to start. Doesn't matter what age your child is. So back to your basics of your sleep hygiene. And then we work on removing if there's this sleep association. So we could do this there's numerous ways of doing it, but the most common ways are either your gradual retreat, your quick return, or control crying. So your gradual retreat is when you're gradually moving away from your child with the main aim to get to the door and then to get to the other side of the door. So this depends on your child, all right? Explain everything to your child. Tell them what's happening. Reassure them. You could explain to them that you want your child to be fit to go for a sleepover to their friend's house if that's what they want, where they won't have the worry of, what if I wake up during the night and I need mommy or daddy? So for example, if you are a parent who is lying in bed with your child until they fall asleep, so if you're lying with them, start off your gradual retreat as in sitting on the bed with them rather than lying down. And then we aim for about every 4 nights to move your position away from the bed, closer to the door. Again, you work with your child. If they're taken to it quite well, you could move position every 2-3 nights. If they're finding it quite difficult, you can move position every 5 nights. But again, it's constant reassurance for your child. Explain what's going on and say, I'm here, I'll be back, all of them things. But what we want is to keep your interactions to a minimum. So if you're trying to move away to the door, your child will cop onto this quite quickly, and they'll be chatting, or they may even become upset with it that they want you lying beside them. But again, keep that interaction to a minimum, be consistent, and lots of reassurance. Then we move on to your quick return. So your quick return is when you have your child in bed and then you leave the room but always come back. So you again explain it to your child what's going on, and then you can say, I'm just going to bring this downstairs, I'll be back in a minute. You go back, reassure them, I'm back, I told you I'll be back. And then you could say, I'm just going to go and put a wash on, I'll be back in 2 minutes. and keep doing that. So your child knows, okay, mommy or daddy's left the room, but they come back, they're coming back. And then they'll start to settle themselves. They know you come back, and the aim is they're settling themselves when you're out of the room and with the aim to fall asleep themselves. Then we have controlled crying. So controlled crying is when you get your child into their cot or bed, and then you leave the room and return at timed intervals. Now again, this depends on your parenting style and the type of child you have as well. Again, you can explain it to them based on their age. For all of these interventions, you want to keep your interactions to a minimum. Keep saying the same thing to your child. It's night time, it's time to go to sleep. I'm here, or I'll be back. So it's that constant reassurance, because if they have an attachment with you, with lying with them at night, they have to learn to let go of that attachment and to learn to fall asleep themselves. As I say, it's all a learning process. So from that, you can bring in reward charts if you like. So again, explain it to your child. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get a rewards chart. It's going to be so much fun. So get your child involved in making the rewards chart. Let them put on the sticker each day, or the star if they have achieved their outcomes. But again, keep it age appropriate. So explain to your child, this is what's happening after 2 nights. Start off after 2 nights or 3 nights. If you go to bed with no issues, you can get a star in the morning. Do this for 3 nights, and then you get a prize. And let your child pick their prize, pick their treat. As in, try and avoid treats or screen time. Maybe even a day out. I know we can't go very far at the moment, but even a day out to the playground, to the fair, to the forest, to the park, a family trip, things like that. But again, keep it age appropriate, as in 2-3 days, so they have a finish line in sight. So they've done 1 night of it, and then they can say, oh, I've only 2 more to go. But again, it's something that's reasonable for your child. If your child is waking numerous times during the night, I wouldn't advise just starting off saying, if you sleep through the night, you'll get a reward in the morning, because they're not used to that. So if they're up 3 times a night, reduce it down to 2, reduce it down to 1, things like that. Or if you go to bed with no issues tonight, you get your star. Or for your younger children, you can do a lucky dip. This works quite well because they can physically see their prize. So again, get your child involved, explain what's going on. And then your lucky dip is when you have a couple of little toys. Now, small toys such as a yo-yo or colouring pencils, rubber, things like that. You can either get your child to help pick them, or when you have them picked, you can get them to help wrap it and put it into the box. Again, explain to your child, if you go to sleep tonight without any issues, no bedtime battles, then you get to pick your prize in the morning. So they can physically see their reward the next morning. And then when they're going to bed the following night, then you're like, this is your prize. I wonder what you'll get tomorrow. It's all that positive reassurance. And tell your children how proud you are of them, because it is a big change for them as well. And then just going back, I suppose, on the amount of sleep our children need. So when children are between around 2 years and 3 years of age, they're down to 1 nap a day for about an hour and a half. Now, the key thing that I always say to parents is, once a child passes 9 months of age, no naps past 3:30. So even if your child is sleeping, plan to get them up and lifted by 3:30, because that can impact their awake window between the time of their nap and then the time they're going down to bed at night. So again, it's just trying to help avoid those nighttime battles. For children from 4 years of age, you're aiming for about 11 and a half, 12 hours sleep a night. Children from 6 years of age onwards, you're aiming for about 11 hours sleep at night. So look, that's it for today. I hope you have found it helpful and got some tips and advice from it. But if you do have any questions in relation to your own children's sleep, or any issues that you find arising, please do contact me. As I say, the point of today is getting the word out to parents that help and support is available. So you can contact me through my website, www.calm-nights.com. or you can contact me through Facebook on Calm Nights, or through Instagram, calm_nights_. Thank you.